Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured, why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say, I'm watching so-and-so show. And then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it. And that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic. And today I'm here to talk about a movie. Pretty rare, but I like to do it every now and then. I'm here to talk about Alex Garland's new film, Civil War. And this is going to be an even more unique video because it's very rare that I get down at... I was going to say get down in front of you guys. Pause. Get on camera in front of you guys with no notes prepared, no real... like structured or what I'm gonna say. I don't even know what I'm gonna say, but I felt propelled. I felt compelled. This is why I need notes. I felt compelled to just get on camera and give you guys my thoughts on this movie. And you want to know why? It's because I always find it a mixture of, I guess, exciting, but also nerve-wracking is too strong. But like, I feel a little apprehension when I know that I'm going to get on camera and I'm going to say something that is counter to what everyone else is saying. And it's something that, like, those of you who have been fans of this channel for a while, I keep instinctively looking at my computer monitor that doesn't have notes on it. Those of you who have been here for a while know that I don't give a fuck, man. I'm going to say how I feel, and that's why you're here. You want to hear what I thought about something authentically and not me just parroting what the fuck everyone else is saying, or because I'm too cowardly to say something different from what everyone else says. So that's why I'm here. That's why you guys, the handful of you that do watch this, that's why you guys watch this channel, because you know I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and you know I'm going to tell you why. I'm not just going to get here and be like, that shit sucked. I'm going to be like, this thing happened and I thought it was whack. And this was the kind of movie that I want to talk about it because it's not just that I feel differently from the majority of what I've been seeing, but I'd kind of like to get people active in the comments and tell me what they thought was good about this movie. So obviously I didn't like it. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad movie. It wasn't. But I am going to sit here and say it wasn't a good movie. And again, I'm going to tell you guys why. And I'm really curious what everyone thought was good about this movie. Because, and I'm not even here on some shit like, oh, it's different than what I expected. Like, I heard that criticism coming into the theater. I knew that it wasn't, I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it wasn't what I expected. But here's the thing. I didn't give a fuck about that. I'm not there to see, like, I'm not there to see the movie that I expect. I'm there to see the movie that Alex Garland made. So if it's not something that's going to feel, like it hits too close to home or feels too similar to what's going on in real life, that's going to make it scary and it's going to make it feel real. If it's not that movie and it's something else, that's fine. I just want that other movie that it is to still be good, right? I don't think this other movie was good. Like, okay, so here's what I think it is. Here's what it was for me. It's important for me to point out that I'm talking about how I felt about the movie and what I took away from it. I'm not saying what it is or what it isn't. I'm saying how I felt about it. What I felt about it was that it was a collection of shocking scenes strung together with no plot, no context. None of these scenes have any context. I don't know who anyone is. I don't know why they're fighting. I don't know what they're fighting for. Like, nothing. I don't know anything about any of these events that they keep taking me to. It's just, it's scene to scene. We're driving to one place. They'll be like 700 miles from DC. They drive to a location, some shit happens there between people, again, people who I don't know who they are. I don't know why they're shooting at one another. I don't even know what's going on. Nothing, completely no context to any scene in this movie other than the fact that a civil war is taking place. Again, we barely know why. Like, it's just a civil war is taking place, so shit's happening and people are shooting. And I'm like, you can't. I have never and I will never find value in a shocking scene or visual with no context. I sat there through the whole movie like, wow, that's a really fucked up thing to look at. Too bad I don't know what the fuck's going on, who the fuck that is, why they're dead, how they're dead. Like, none of the things that, you know what? People said that this movie was not about the Civil War kind of thing that we expected coming in, but it was more of a commentary on journalism. What did it say about journalism? Because here's the thing. It's a movie that follows journalists, but I would argue that it doesn't even say anything about journalism. Like, because when we look at journalism, when we look at war, well, actually, no, throw war on the table. When we look at journalism, one of the main things that gets discussed in our everyday lives and in film and in television is the ethical piece of it. Painting an accurate picture that isn't polluted with your own personal input or your own personal feelings. That applies best with written journalism and, television, the news, the radio, whatever, right? Photojournalism, I feel, is the one place where that doesn't apply. The photos are the story. They just tell you what's there. And the photographer's job is to create the story. No, it's to capture the story, but they don't influence it. And well, sometimes they do, but they're not supposed to. But that doesn't happen here. They don't influence the story. All they do, well, for one, there is no story, but they don't influence the story that they're trying to tell with their photos. They're just photo documenting terrible things of war, and they're not even documenting everything. They're only documenting when people get killed, which, I mean, there's more to war than that. You can document the devastation in the cities, the rubble, the ruin. You can photo document how it's impacted the people who are still alive. But all they were doing was photographing gunfire, and people be like how in the moment can I photograph this person dying? Like I don't feel like it had anything to say about journalism or how journalism can impact a war, because it didn't have anything to say about the war itself and the photographs that these journalists were taking, or the fact that that we were following journalists at all. It seemed like nothing more than a vehicle, no pun intended, to get us from, again, shocking visual to shocking visual that has no context. So I'm looking like, wow, that's a really fucked up thing that I'm seeing right there. There's like a guy, like, it was so gratuitous and pointless that it was like there's a guy with like a tire around him and he's covered in gasoline, supposedly being set on fire. I'm like, what is the point of this? Like there's no context to this at all. I don't know who this guy. All it is a horrific thing to look at with, like, I can't connect any emotion to it whatsoever, other than, well, that's shitty that's happening to that guy. Maybe he deserves it. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I don't know who did it to him. I don't know why they did it. Like, nothing. And that's what this movie felt like, was a whole bunch of shocking visuals with no context at all. And because of that, I felt nothing. And if you want to look at it as the point isn't necessarily the war itself, the point is the impact of the war, I could grant you that if it weren't for the fact that I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this. For the people within the movie, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's a scene in the movie where there's two people shooting at each other, a pair of soldiers, and they're shooting toward a really big house. We don't even see the person in the house. And the whole point of this scene is that, like, I don't know what side that guy is on. He doesn't know what side I'm on, but shit, he's shooting at me, I'm shooting at him, and that's just the situation that we're in right now. And that fits within the context of the lives of the people within the movie. For me, as a movie goer, as someone watching the movie, I still need that shit to connect. Like if you want that to have an impact on the viewer, that scene needs to mean something. It can't just be, oh, he's shooting at me, I'm shooting at him. Oh. Like that's not gonna work for me, the viewer. So like, I just feel like all of this was flawed in a conceptually, because I think that the point is, you don't necessarily need to have context to the war to experience and feel the horror from it, which again, true, if you're in it or if it's actually happening. But if you're watching a movie where it needs to have three-dimensional characters and emotion and a storyline or something like that. This movie had none of that shit. It had no storyline. It didn't have any fleshed out characters. It didn't have like nothing. It was just strung together violence. Like, and it's just like, all right, well, we've left this violent location. Now we're in the car again, and now we're 400 miles from DC at a new violent location where nothing that has any context is gonna make sense. And I don't know, man. I was not into this at all. Like, and how could I be? And again, how could you be? Like, I don't like, if you like this movie, what did you like about it? Like, what was your takeaway? Like, maybe I missed something, but like, I didn't walk out of there like, wow, that was really profound. Like, no, I just watched it. Like, everything that I've ever, almost everything I've ever seen about war has been more compelling than that. Because that stripped away everything that makes those sorts of things matter. Like the pointlessness of dying and all of that shit. And you look at it like, oh, they made it seem pointless. But again, like, for me, you need to convey, it can't be pointless. Oh man, it's so hard to describe, but like, I feel like they're trying to get across the brutality and horror of war. But again, I feel like if I'm watching a movie, it's different than if we're just talking about war in real life. If you think about any other, not even any other war movie, any movie you've seen where something happened and you felt good or you felt bad, think about why you felt good or bad in that moment. It was because that movie made you care about that character. It was because maybe whatever happened to that person was really fucked up within the circumstances of the movie. Like, this was just like, again, every scene, just no context at all, just shit happening. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to get emotionally involved or intertwined with this when there's nothing? I can't even really put it. There's nothing here. Like, the only thing that I liked about them, I thought Kirsten Dunst was really good in this. She had a scene where she said something to the effect of like, something kind of like made the point that I'm making. Like, oh fuck, what did she say? Oh man, I'm not gonna have a bunch of dead air trying to figure out what she said. But Kirsten Dunst was great. I thought the woman who played the girl was solid. I thought fully a child. That person was. He's like, yeah, she's 23. Cause like when he brought her to the car, I'm like, what the fuck you bringing this kid for? He's like, she's 23. I'm like, 23? Okay, I thought she was like 15, but okay. I thought she was decent. I thought the male lead was pretty bad. I'm sorry, not pretty bad. I don't want to be insulting just because I didn't like the movie. I don't think it was pretty bad, but I didn't find him to be anything special at all. I thought the ending sequence at the White House was fun to watch, but laughably implausible. like, and again, I'm not trying to be insulting. I was literally fucking laughing. Like, they're like, oh, the president's leaving out of the White House right now in those SUVs. I'm like, the president ain't gonna leave. President's not gonna leave out of the front door. President's not gonna leave out of the front door of the White House in the middle of a civil war. Like, that's ridiculous. And then I'm like, okay, so everybody else believes this. All right. And then like Kirsten, the main characters are like, I don't think he's in that car. Like, no shit, he's out of the car. And then they go inside, and then the second entirely implausible thing was that the president was just sitting there chilling in the Oval Office. Like he'd have got the fuck out of there, man. Like, the president would have been in Cuba by... No, not Cuba. But, like, he'd have been somewhere far fucking away from D.C. before anyone got into the Oval Office. That was absolutely ludicrous. I also thought... Okay, so... the scene where Kirsten Dunst's character dies... I thought that was interesting because they had already set up the idea of, like, would you photograph me if I died? And she doesn't say yes, but the answer is a very obvious yes, which fit in with Kirsten Dunst's character, one of the few that I felt actually had some depth to them. But when they do the scene with Kirsten Dunst's character dying, and the girl who got her killed is like, this is a great opportunity to take a photo. Like, that was too much, dog. And then she dies, and then my man's like, yo, come on, let's go. Like, they completely didn't acknowledge her, which, again, given the circumstances, I get it, but, like, that was so, I don't know, they made a bigger deal over the old man dying, and, like, how was the old man shot in the stomach? Like, he had, like, blood on the front, and I'm like, I guess maybe he could have been shot, like, I can't even say in the back, and, like, he was bleeding in the stomach, but he was driving the car away from the scene. The only place he could have been shot is, like, this shoulder. Like, his driver's side shoulder is, like, the only place or the head, obviously. But, like, why does he seem to have a wound in the stomach? Like, he couldn't have even been shot in the back and it comes out through the stomach because that's not even plausible within the car. So, like, that was kind of weird. What else did I think was weird? Oh, man, it was something that reminded me of the guy being shot in the stomach, too. I don't know. I don't recall. But, like, I don't know, man. I don't see what was special about this. I didn't see any profound statements. I saw a lot of insane visuals, but insane visuals with no context. So it's not. I can't even be like, it's like I'm looking at a painting, because even a painting can have context. They might have a little blurb underneath it, like, this guy painted this under severe duress, and that's why it's all fucked up looking. Like whatever, man. Even that shit can have context. Like, this shit was just, I mean, no context to nothing. And I'm just like, I'm watching pretty shitty visuals, like, oh man, that's really fucked up to look at, but, like, man, too bad I don't know what the fuck's going on, or why that happened to that person, or who that person is, or why it was done to them. None of that. The only thing I could take away that I thought was good was I thought the Jesse Plemons scene was phenomenal, and Jesse Plemons could take a shitty, I'm not calling this movie shitty, but Jesse Plemons could take a shitty project and elevate it merely with his presence. Like, Love and Death, that show that he did with Elizabeth Olsen, I didn't think was really any good, but he was great in it. Like, he elevates everything, man. And that scene with him was, man, that was a doozy. And that's how you pull off a scene. You don't want to have any context? That's how you pull off a good scene with no context. And even then, like, he provided the context of, I need to know how American you are. And we're seeing it happen in the moment. Everything else in the movie felt like aftermath. Like, we're seeing, like, everything after it's already happened. It's like, oh, wow, that's fucked up. But again, we don't know why it happened, so whatever. But I don't know, man. I like I said, I don't have notes, so I don't know what else to say, but I guess my biggest gripe is the lack of context for any of these horrific things that we see. I think context was necessary. I think the claim that it's about journalism, I think, should be tested at least. Which is what I'm doing, because I would argue that it's not about journalism at all. It just journalists are the main characters, but it's following journalists on a road trip to interview the president, and that's it. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's about journalism. It's about journalists. It's not about journalism. I don't think it had any particular takeaway. It just felt like, honestly, it felt like they said, look at what's going on in the world right now. I know this movie was made, or at least formulated in the mind a long time ago, but a long time ago this movie could have been formulated. I know that I feel like it was meant to capitalize on a fear that already exists within Americans to get asses in seats. But what was on the screen was not. I'm really trying not to be mean, you guys, because I don't even think it's worth being mean about. Like, it's not something that deserves for me to shit on it. But I don't have anything good to say. I don't think that it provided anything of value, unless the value you're looking for is shocking imagery, then it provided that tenfold. If you're looking for shocking imagery that means something, look elsewhere. I just, like a lot of it, you don't even see it happening. It's just like, there's a dead body, there's another dead body, there's another dead body. And like, if you look at like, say like Holocaust films, the Holocaust is the context. So you see a bunch of dead bodies in a ditch, you're like, fuck, man, you know those Nazis killed these Jews for no fucking reason. What the fuck? I don't have that for this. I don't have that. Like, because again, I know that there is a civil war going on. I don't know why. I'm not going to keep harping on this, but I don't know, you guys. I don't know why people like this movie in any fashion, whether it's, you know, if it was the movie that you thought it was going to be, which it's not, and then you watch the movie that it is, and you're like, oh, I like this one. I don't know how you liked this version either. I don't know. I don't need to see it again. I don't want to see it again. I don't even know what could I gain from watching it again? There's nothing there. It's just a bunch of fucking, I don't know, man. Like, those of you who liked it can tell me what you took away from it. I would challenge you, if your thing that you liked about it was like, oh man, it was shocking war imagery, then I would recommend literally every other war movie that's ever been made ahead of this, because they all have context. They all have a war that exists in real life as a backdrop. Or it might not even have one in real life. But any other war movie, make believe or real, is going to have a war as the backdrop, and you're going to know what that war is about. We don't have that here. So, I don't know, guys. That's all I got. Let me know what you thought in the comments, or on the Facebook page, or wherever. As long as you're respectful, I'll probably have a back and forth. If you're one of those assholes who wants to say some cunty shit on the internet, I'll either ignore you or I will verbally undress you, and it'll be bad. So, but I'm interested to hear what you guys thought if you liked it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Till next time, peace.